On the board, item on the agenda of the district recognition. Board members, if you'll join me on this side of the table. Usually we're at the public safety complex because we got on Tuesday, city council's having their meeting there tonight. First recognition tonight, I'd like to bring up Kathy Pfeffel and her team. Kathy, Pamela, Felicitas, and Katrina, if y'all will join us up here for the third year in a row. The financial award distinction for excellent financial reporting from the Georgia Department of Audits. Kathy, wait, this is the most number of these we could receive in our time together. So this really goes back to the 2019 school year, 2020 and 2021. We currently are in an audit review for 2022. And so as many of these as we could earn, we've earned it. Kathy and her team work year round, not just to do the financial reports every month that the board approves, but there's always the cycles of audits and federal programs and everything else that go along with it. So ladies, thank y'all so much for your contributions and still having a smile at the end of the day while you're doing all of this stuff.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You can have a seat. I'd like to ask Dr. Jason Cap to come up. Jason works with Pioneer RESA. We're going to talk a little bit about our PBIS and where our schools are implementing those and certificates that he'll be leaving with us that will then be given the principal.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight and celebrate with you and with your schools. And so always happy to work with Gainesville City. And so been working on school climate and culture for quite a few years now as far as the coaching aspects of that. And so I love seeing now that I also work, do some evening work, Boys and Girls Club, and some work around the community. And so I get to see and hear about the Gainesville City school system and hear about the students. And so when we talk about be the one, we talk about ready, respectful, responsible role models for our students. And it definitely demonstrates that. And I hear about that. Principals, administrators that are here, you know, I hear your students talk about what that means to them and how they can rely on those expectations. And so glad to be here and celebrate. We've got some certificates, some of your schools here for their status with our state PBIS implementation. And so some recognition for them. These are from the 21-22 school year. We just got those a couple weeks ago from our state team. And then hopefully we'll be back fairly soon to do some recognitions for 22-23. And it won't be long now. So Lee's going to help me. So we've got certificates here for Fair Street. And so we want to.
Fair Street, if you'll come up.
Yeah.
Denise, come on up. Board, let's come on back up. Great job.
Who's you want to do? We'll do everybody together. Okay. And let's see.
You, we'll just do one.
We'll do one.
One big picture. I got you. All right. And then we have Monday Mill.
Monday Mill.
And Monday Mill, their operational certificate here. We have Lindota. Westwood platform. Wesley's gonna play concert in a little bit. No, I'm teasing. Gainesville Exploration Academy. Congratulations. And Centennial Arts Academy. We have New Holland Knowledge Academy. And Gainesville High School. Very good.
Please, if you will, come on.
Take pictures.
Jason, you'll go up and join us as well.
Sure.
Come over here. Yeah, feel free to move.
One, two, three. One, two, three.
Great job. Congratulations.
What have I done?
All right, Mrs. Flores, do we have any citizens' comments? We do not. Do we have anybody from Leadership Hall here? If you would, please stand up, tell us your name and tell us which organization you are with.
Okay, my name is Cindy Campbell, and as he said, I'm a member of this year's class at Leadership Hall. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Rushton CPA firm here in town, and I'm also on the board of CASA with Andy Stewart.
And I'm
Welcome.
Deanne Collins. I'm the Dean of Allied Health at Lanier Technical College, so I manage all the healthcare programs. Thank y'all for having us.
Y'all welcome, y'all picked one of the shortest meetings. Congratulations, smarter than your classmate.
He doesn't say that they're dumber than others, but it's definitely a great meeting.
All right, I'd like to entertain the adoption of the agenda.
Motion to adopt Roman 4 and 5.
Got a motion by Mr. Smith. I hear a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Mitchell. All those in favor? Motion carries. First action item is elementary science vendor selection. Dr. Sears.
Okay. I was looking to see if I was item number 4 or 5. Since January, we have been reviewing 3 vendors. The first vendor that we reviewed is SimScopes. The second is Amplify, and the third is Explore. We would like to recommend SimScopes. The amount, if you'll see there on your writing, is $241,902.70. Are there any questions?
Dr. Sears, if you will talk a little about the process that y'all do with your team to review the materials.
Absolutely. We have a very comprehensive rubric, very comprehensive. Our coaches lead the teachers through the process, and they score each vendor on the rubric,
What grade levels?
K through 5.
K through 5, all of them have science curriculum.
Yes, sir. They sure do.
Okay.
And Dr. Sears, is this work, is it sort of a licensing deal where for this fee, we get to use it for a certain amount of time or?
Actually, this is for the first year of purchase. The science kits actually have experimental materials inside of them, and they're consumables. So they're very expensive. The years after, the price will be about $50,000. So it goes down substantially after the first year.
And I believe we've been using SimScopes for the last 6 years.
Correct.
So for elementary, this is just kind of a continuation of the same, but it does newer kits, updated, kind of just a good restart. So we follow along with the DOE's kind of replenishing guide. And so we'll have math coming up soon, ELA coming up soon. So it's kind of good to get back to that track of rotations.
Motion to approve.
Second. Got a motion by Mr. Smith, a second by Mr. Mitchell. Any other questions? All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, Dr. Sears.
Thank you.
Next item is the approval of Chromebook purchases for our students. Mr. Joel Hobson.
Good evening. I'm coming before you tonight to ask for your approval of the purchase of 8,800 Dell Chromebooks in the amount of $3,215,484. We're going to use ESSER 3 funds to make this purchase. It is something that we have to go to the Department of Education for approval as part of the plan for the use of those ESSER funds, and we do already have that approval. The purchase includes 7,000 traditional Chromebooks, just clamshell Chromebooks. And then we are purchasing 1,700 of the 2-in-1. These are the ones that fold backwards, kind of like a tablet and have a touch screen. We use those in pre-K through first grade, where students aren't quite ready to have to type on a keyboard. It gives us that touch option so that it can be more appropriate for that grade level. And that is a continuation of what we are already doing at this time.
And will this purchase include Chromebooks for staff, or is this just for students?
This is just for students.
So if you'll share recently what we did with staff as far as the new laptops.
Yeah, and you approved, we replaced all staff laptops this year. We just kind of finished that process, or nearly finished that process. And each staff member does have a Windows laptop that's 2-in-1 that allows them to have a touch surface if they want to be able to mirror or use it in that way when they're in class as well.
If you remember when COVID hit, ESSER one funds were available, which we used to buy Chromebooks at that time for all of the students. Part of this order, we anticipate having them ready for next school year, but there's always a chance that they're not ready. But ESSER funds, ARP, the level 3 funds that we received do expire after next school year. And so part of this too is to ensure that we have the devices needed for that next cycle of Chromebooks.
Jill, what about your recovery and secondary market or options for the current Chromebooks?
So because of the data that is on the Chromebooks, we prefer not to sell those directly. We like to go through what's known as a recycler. This is a company that takes the Chromebooks and provides us with, we do this with all devices, including the staff laptops. They provide us with a Department of Defense level certificate of data destruction. So they guarantee us that the data is non-recoverable by anybody, even among the most smarted and gifted of people who might be trying to find that data. And then they would have the ability, if they so choose, to make those available in some kind of an aftermarket kind of way. We get a little bit of money from those, from the recycling company when we do use them to handle equipment on our behalf.
And we'll probably keep some of them back.
We are going to keep some. We will not keep as many as we have currently, not all of the 8,000 of them, but we will hold on to some because we will use them as loaners. We will use them to supplement when someone has damaged theirs to the point that we're unable to get it repaired, that we will have a device that we can provide.
Do you have a high recovery percentage
You mean in terms of the amount of damage we deal with?
in terms of if you were to make an all call for return to bring your devices, an all call?
So we do pretty well with that at the end of each year when we collect them. Generally speaking, at elementary where they stay in the classroom, we have no problems. 100% return of all devices. And middle and high school, we get at about 85 to 90% return of devices. Mostly what we see is not that we don't get them back. Sometimes we don't get them back in pristine condition and have to do some work to, refurbish them and have them perfectly
If a
ready.
child did not, if a high school child did not have a device at home, a personal device at home, could he or she benefit by just keeping our investment?
We provide a device that they take home with them already.
Could they benefit by just keeping it, the current one? If they do not have a personal device at home that they have, they or their moms have bought?
I don't think we can have them keep a device directly because, we have a policy that we have to follow in terms of the disposition of any equipment that's been purchased with taxpayer monies. So that process requires, and I'm going to lean on Ms. Peppo a little bit here, that process requires that we then, if we're going to make that available, that we then use an auction process to make those available. And we would have to take on the job of doing the data destruction ourselves, which is not something that my staff has the expertise to handle.
And I think some of it goes back to, even if they were to keep it 2 weeks and then they need to sell it for a couple $100 or $50 or whatever it needs to be, then you have so many security issues that we're worried about just by going some of those other routes.
We would have to unlicense them. We can't give it to them with Chrome operating system on it because we've paid for that licensing and we don't have a way to transfer that unless we're going to lose that licensing for a student to use on a Chromebook that we are providing to them. And we give them the Chromebook to use, they keep it and use it and take it home with them. The only thing we do is if a student does lose a Chromebook and doesn't return it, then we do require them now to purchase insurance the following year at a very nominal fee, and that helps protect us in case something
And I
happens.
believe, Jill, if the kid winds up withdrawing, going somewhere else, and they keep it with them, we know that it's not being used. And we
We
freeze it.
completely disable it. You can't even do anything with
It
it.
turns into a few $100 brick.
Yeah, that's what they call it, breaking them.
Motion to approve.
I got a motion by Mr. Smith, do I hear a second? Second. Second by Mr. Mitchell, all those in favor, motion carries, thank you, Mr. Thompson, Mrs. Peck. The award winning Mrs. Peck.
You have the best. Yeah. Best.
They're great.
I really do. I just so appreciate it.
You have a good.
Now before you this evening, our our monthly report on the general fund, expenditures and revenues for January, which is our 7th month into the fiscal year already. For the month, we had 15.9 in revenues, and as you can see, we had a very nice receipt from property taxes of 12.1 million. It's around 95% of our expected projections for ad valorem tax received thus far. Our year-to-date revenues are 61.4, and that's 75.5% of our revenues collected out of our budget, projected budget. Our expenditures for the month are at 10.3, and one of the reasons this is high this month, you may recognize that's high, is the transfer to capital projects from the most recent board meeting was approved at 3.455. So I went ahead and included that in this month of January.
And that's that other outlays at the bottom.
For total expenditures. So that drove our total budget spent up a little bit to 63.5%. It should be around 59% when I bring the budget amendment officially and formally to next month. So that will adjust expenditure percentage down to in line where it should be. Our ending fund balance for January is 33.3 million.
Kathy, the ad valorem receipts arrived here in January.
Mhm.
Did the late fees and penalties kick in January?
Well,
When's our due date? December.
The county is different from the city. The city's January or December 1st.
Yes, first December first. Our due date is December 1st.
right. It might not have been in January, so I'll check with the city, just to be sure.
Because that's additional revenue.
Right. And
Unplanned.
they show that every month,
Yeah.
a portion that is delinquent, but it could have, some that we received over the
Yeah,
prior
okay.
year.
Just let us know.
I will.
Thank you.
Splice receipts for the month, 1,138,000.
Motion to approve.
We got a motion by Mr. Smith, do I hear a second? Second by Mr. Mitchell, all those in favor, motion carries, thank you, Mrs. Beth. Someone show Ms. Jones and our guest from Leadership Hall some mercy and make a motion.
Motion to approve the personnel report.
Thank you. Do I hear a second? Second by Mr. Mitchell, all those in favor, motion carries. Any discussion on it?
I have one item, please. Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Stewart, please sign up for one of the Read Across America. They've sent some nice little easy response charts. And it's the first week of March.
Not putting pressure on the other principal. GEA is the most flexible to work with your schedule.
Yeah, because she's doing it the whole week.
She's got the whole week.
She got the whole
She
week.
said the whole week. So Renee, y'all get the award. And I've got 5 schools looking at me like, really, you just did that.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, we got a motion to adjourn. Second by Mr. Ford, all those in favor. Thank y'all for coming.